Hi everyone, Octract here. I hope you liked that cinematic tour of the base. We're also going to have a walk and talk kind of tour as well. So, right now we are about 2,000 blocks due north of spawn at the entrance to the stronghold. And this is where I have my bed, and this is where we started our tour for the cinematic part. And I do have a portal that goes up to the roof of the nether, so I have easy access to the server's nether highways. Pretty friendly server. It's not like a faction server where people are out to destroy your stuff. This was the university's Minecraft server where I went to school, and I actually helped run it. But everything that I did here was completely legit in survival. It was kind of nice because I could run the server how I wanted, so I gave everybody the seed, and we could, plan builds out like this, which, as you might imagine, did have to happen to create the void base. So, the idea behind the void base, let's open to land so I can fly around, was that I wanted to get this thing to generate on the other side out in the void between the main island and the outer end islands. And so I found a video by Ray Works, and I was able to get that to work. So I had to kill the dragon a few times to get this thing to generate, specifically this one, because that's the one I had plans for. And then from there, I had to fly out there, build a giant bridge, and fool it into thinking that that's where the island started, so it would generate into the void and as far down as possible. This villager here is raid protection. Because I have villagers in my base, I don't want anybody with the bad omen effect to trigger a raid at my base. So as they're going up the pillar here, they'll trigger a raid here on the main end island where it won't hurt anything. That's the idea behind this guy. So anyway, let's go to the base real quick, and then we can talk about what's going on. Kind of funny, lots of people actually got stuck here. Um, and they couldn't figure out this trap door. So if you don't get into swimming mode by this point, you just have to flick the trap door once and twice, and you'll go in. And then again, this is something people complained about. They don't really trust that drop, but I mean that was the whole idea, is to have the black glass here. But the glass is actually 3 layers thick, so you can't accidentally spleef yourself. I made sure that that would be a safe thing. Um, and then you can also see how there's like a black wall there, and that's because it's hiding all the redstone. Optics was a very tricky subject for this base that I had to plan out very carefully in a single player world. So anyway, in this main room we've got a storage system. This is a storage system that was designed by Tango Tech. Very nice storage system. It's silent and allows you to just customize where everything goes. You see I have shulkers here, and that's just because, well, you know, I've got so much of that stuff that I can just take up that space. It doesn't mess up the sorting system. I just put it in there manually. Um, you know, everything will fill up these spots where they're not full stacks, and I can just change the distribution whenever I want. So if I want another spot for slabs, then I can just do that. And you know, whenever I run items through here, they'll just respect that. And then of course here I've got non-stackables. This isn't part of the sorting system. I just have to do that manually. And same with these chests and these chests here. I haven't used up every single slot, so there's still room to grow. And then this is trash. The trash line is actually kind of interesting. So it hooks up with the trash line from the Enderman farm. You can see this is it right here. This is where they meet. I'm using barrels, droppers, and composters because of the redstone here, and to optimize the hoppers so that they don't strain out the server. And then those come all the way over here to this system that will toss the items out. And actually, the items from the sugarcane farm, carrot farm, and iron farm that might overflow also come down and share this dropping system. And it's just far enough away from the interior here so that you won't be able to hear it when it's running, which is kind of nice. So let's head up. And the first thing I showed off is this control panel. So I actually clicked this button to turn on the Enderman farm from here, because yes, you can turn it on here, or you can turn it on over there. And this light tells you whether it's on or off. So right now it's off, and it really doesn't have any reason to be on. And then here we've got the levers for the beacons. So I actually have 12 beacons so that I can switch between level 1 and level 2 effects. And that requires a complicated switching system up here. So I needed to have an observer on a sticky piston pushing up into another piston that moves a block back and forth, and then that works with 2 different beacons. And so the idea is that every time I flick a lever, it'll toggle it on and off, and every other time it's turned on, it'll be level 2. And every other time it'll be level 1. So right now everything is on at level 2. Resistance or regeneration does not have a level 2, so that one doesn't really matter. But everything is on right now at level 2. So if I turn something off and then back on, it'll be level 1. Then I have to turn it off and back on for it to be back at level 2. So that was something that I designed. And then here we've got a carrot farm toggle, an iron farm toggle, and a sugarcane farm toggle. So I can just turn those off if I want to. Here we've got the input for the smelting system here. So the cobblestone is the stuff to smelt. The blaze rods on the coal block there is for fuel. Yes, the whole thing is full of fuel. That took quite a while, but I built a blaze farm, so that works. And then this is where all the completed stuff comes out. This design is also by Tango Tech. It's 15 furnaces. Back when he made it, all 15 of them worked. However, over time, say like since 1.14 and up, maybe even a little bit before that, but in modern updates, one of the furnaces, I think this one, ends up being a lazy furnace, and so you only have 14 of these furnaces working. But it still works aside from that, which is pretty nice. And then up here, we've got the outputs for the farm. So we've got the carrot farm. That's for breeding the villagers. We've got the poppies from the iron farm. Most of those actually get turned into bone meal. And then we've got the iron from the iron farm, and then we've got the sugarcane from the sugarcane farm, and that looks like it's actually filled all the way up. So the iron is great for, well, a lot of things, but I can also trade it with smiths for emeralds, and the sugarcane is used to trade with librarians for emeralds as well. So I can just do whatever I want with the villagers. That's really what these farms are for. Just a little netherwort farm for doing uh, potion brewing. This is just a manual farm, nothing much to it. The hoppers just move all the items through. Since soul sand is not actually a full block tall, its hitbox is a little bit smaller, the hoppers are able to just suck things up right away. Record system here. Don't actually have all the records, but that's alright. And then over here we've got the smiths. So I just started out in the main hallway here. I've got the smiths. I've got villagers I'm working on. So like this guy, I was just breaking his lectern and replacing it, hoping to get like smite or some other enchantment that I don't quite have at perfect prices yet. Alchemist, this is a renewable source of lapis, so he's actually kind of helpful. And then here's where all the villagers come out. In the cinematic version, you could see where I showed these guys off. And they get their carrots from this line here. And there's just a little door right here that I can open up and toss them into. Kind of weird, but it gets the job done. So here we've got all the villagers. This guy, Smite, he's not done. He doesn't have a perfect book trade. It's close though. I believe it's like 21. You can get it down to 17. These two are probably the most useful, unbreaking and mending. The reason why I made them red is because I decided that I want them to have a bookshelf trade as opposed to a paper trade. Bookshelves are nice because if you want a renewable source of books when you're out here in the void, then that's one way to do it because I don't have a cow farm here. So, as you can imagine, these chests are just full of stuff for enchanting. This actually has all of the trade stuff that I use. So, iron and paper and so on. So here we've got a smithing table, grindstone enchanting table. This little system is something that I designed so that you can give the enchanting table exactly how many books you want. That's the idea behind these. I don't use it all that much because, of course, I just can get whatever enchantment I want with books, and if you combine the books in certain ways, then you can ensure that you can put like 7 enchantments on one thing without maxing it out. Now for the Enderman farm, here's the others toggle for it. You can see that I hit this to shut off the farm in the cinematic part of our base tour. And so here I've got shulker boxes for pearls, because maybe you want to get pearls without killing Endermen. And actually, let's toss some of these into the junk system. So these hoppers pick up all of the ender pearls. They actually pick up everything, and they take it through a set of filters. And these filters only allow ender pearls to pass through, and then those get tossed out to trash. And because there's so much that can come through, I actually have 3 different dispensers dropping them out. And the reason they're so far away is, again, so that you don't hear them clicking when you're in here. Now, anything that's not an ender pearl is going to go up through this little system here and end up in this chest. And this is just where I keep a sword, and that's a great demonstration item because I can toss it in, and after a little bit, it's going to end up back in this chest. Exactly. Yeah, because I don't want to lose something like this sword, so I just had to make it ultra safe like that. So that's this area. Pretty much all there is to it. There's one other area that we want to take a look at, and that was the Wither Rose farm. What I did was I created an ice boat track. And what I really liked about this base location was that there was one of those random gateways really close by. Now I used stained black glass panes because, well, that fits the theme, makes it very scary looking to ride a boat here. But yeah, here's a wither rose farm that I built. It's completely full of wither roses. Also got some ender pearls here for extra storage. This is the normal way of getting down, but of course, if you can fly, then you can do whatever. I just have this little minecart system for getting up. And this white glass block here is where you AFK. And the idea here is that all the Endermen are going after that Endermite, and then they fall down this tube. And what you would have if this farm was operational is a wither inside of this cage. Its feet would be on top of this wall, and it would just be stuck. There'd be an ender chest on top of that hopper, so that the endermen land at 1 health instead of dying. And then the wither would be targeting this iron golem here, and a lot of its skulls would get bumped up by this bubble column, which means that this whole thing is source block, so that was kind of annoying to build. They get bumped up by this bubble column and run into the obsidian here, and then a lot of other skulls would just break on the bedrock, and that's what would kill the endermen that are at 1 hit and create wither roses. So that's the idea behind this farm. Now, we did need to set up a lot of obsidian, because sometimes the wither, for whatever reason, will produce blue skulls, and those will break the obsidian. And so we want those to get used up, rather than fly off into the end, where it can become a lag problem and just a general nuisance. So that's the idea behind this farm. And then the water here is to prevent endermen from teleporting, and that was a whole thing. Let's see, let's go back to the base real quick, because there's actually a few things I forgot to mention now that we're outside of the base. So first of all, up here I actually have a platform for landing, and you can actually just like come down here and then use your elytra and fly up through this hole. It's kind of fun. So that's another way to get out. But over here we've got the Enderman farm and villagers. I actually set up all of these end rods so that it would be lit outside, and that prevents the scary noises from darkness, because that actually happens here in the end. It doesn't happen as quickly as in the overworld, but it does still happen, and so having all of this light prevents those noises from occurring. And then everything is double carpeted to prevent endermen from teleporting. And then also this entire thing was a very tight tolerance. So we'll go into spectator again. The beacons have a range of 50 blocks, right? The endermen have a teleport range of 32 blocks. So the 32 blocks come out to here, and the beacons actually stop right here. If I was inside of this area where the endermen are, then 2 of the beacons would not provide any effects to me. So yeah, it was a very close tolerance. Required a lot of planning to get that right. And yeah, there's just a lot of redstone going on here. Now for the farms. I should talk about the farms here. So the carrot farm is just a simple carrot farm. It's kind of funky. There is a way to enable or disable it. It isn't that reliable, though, because the sticky piston, like the villager just doesn't realize, oh, I've got a job block, or oh, I no longer have a job block. So generally, I just never turn it off. Once it works, we want to leave it that way. The iron farm was a design from Exumavoid's channel. I think Ilmango showed this off. I forget exactly what happened, but maybe Ilmango and N-Bomb, I don't even remember. But anyway, I know Exumavoid used this design, and I figured, hey, this would be kind of nice. I wasn't actually watching his Hermitcraft series when he used it, but again, like, oh, this is a nice design. We get, you know, four of these iron producers, but I had to get this guy, the Pacified Pillager. So I had to find him from across an ocean, boat him like 1,000 blocks to my base, pacify him, of course, by letting him use up his crossbow, and then because I couldn't break bedrock, I couldn't use the gateway. I actually had to get him in here by rail. Same with all the villagers, and set up the breeder. So it was a very laborious process to to get this thing set up, and then it was also very nerve-wracking with the beds, because if you accidentally right-click one, then everything gets blown up. But fortunately, I was able to get this built without incident. And then the final thing here is the sugarcane farm. This was a design by Tango Tech once again. He's got a lot of great designs. And this farm is like super efficient. I really like how it works. You just have redstone, the stuff, and everything is really triggered just by the observer watching the sugarcane. Sugarcane actually creates multiple ticks every time as it's growing. So this bottom block here, like, it's not just when it grows up, it's like multiple times until it grows up that it's producing updates. So yeah, very effective farm here. Everything just gets harvested at a decent rate. And then of course I have a way to turn everything off. I can just pull out this bottom observer, and then the farm everything will grow and nothing will get broken. So that just about does it. One last thing I wanted to mention is that the way that we get out is actually the same way that we got in, with one of these soul sand bubble columns. I love these things. And it's just the exact same system here. And then for getting down, you can either glide or you can catch yourself with vines. So anyway, that is this base tour. I hope you enjoyed it. And I believe this is also going to be it for Minecraft for me, because of Microsoft's, well, forcing us to use Microsoft accounts and doing the chat moderation stuff. Minecraft doesn't feel like it's quite the same with all of the big corporate influence going on. So yeah, this is basically where my Minecraft journey ends. With this base, I did play a little bit on the next world from my university server, but I didn't really get anywhere there. So yeah, I'm just going to leave that where it was and call it good. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed. There is no more gaming content planned on this YouTube channel. There is some Linux content planned. I'm not saying that there won't be any gaming content. Gaming on Linux is obviously a topic that is of interest to me, but for the time being, nothing is planned. So if you're looking for gaming, don't hold your expectations all that high. But if you want to be pleasantly surprised, then stay subscribed. And with that out of the way, I'd like to thank you for watching, and if you decide to stick with me in the move to Linux, then I'll see you in the next video. Bye.